It's day 9, September the 30th, and Sawyer is skinny dipping in this area. Let's recap all those places in close proximity of our beach, and apologies if I mispronounce the Hawaiian names. First you have the bamboo forest, which was filmed at Nuuanu watershed. Then you have an opening between the mountains that lead to the crash site beach, filmed on Makulea beach. If you move up a little bit, you end up on that bend with that iconic tree. Then you have the palm grove area over here, filmed at Dillingham Ranch. If we move further south, we have the rocky area where Jin was catching sea urchins, where Kate was stitching up Jack, and when she later took a bath, filmed at Waialae Beach. This rocky beach leads directly to the forest area where Walt found Kate's handcuffs. You see, we begin this episode with Sawyer skinny dipping over here. This is not filmed at Makulea Beach, but at Kauela Bay Beach. In Hawaii, you also have this forest area right behind the beach. Here you'll find Kauela Banyan Tree, which is where they'll tie up Sawyer later in this episode. The reason why I mention this is this very cool connection between this place and the pilot. It's also the exact same place Walt found Kate's handcuffs. The place where Kate ran away to so she could take off her handcuffs is the same place where she'll share that tender kiss with Sawyer. It's great that all of these locations are all in close proximity of each other. Kate goes by and sees Sawyer naked. She goes back to the beach and he goes inside the jungle to his stash. He finds Boone there and beats him up. In the meantime, Charlie comes by Claire and hints that he wants her to move to the caves. Shannon helps Boone to the caves where Jack is tending Saeed's wounds.
We need some help over here!
Boone tells Jack about Shannon's inhalers and why he was going through Sawyer's stash. Jack goes to the beach and confronts Sawyer over Shannon's inhalers, which Boone suspects Sawyer has. Kate comes by. She tells Jack that she can reason with Sawyer. Sawyer goes to the big tree at the bend of the beach and chops some wood.
What do you want?
Kate reads his letter. Saeed talks to Locke about the attack at sunset. This is where Saeed confirms the distance between the two rockets, the one in the jungle and the one in the high ground. At night, Sawyer comes by to collect some water while Shannon is having an asthma attack.
Give me the inhalers.
The next morning, Charlie and Claire make a deal that if he finds peanut butter, then she'll move to the caves. Charlie joins Hurley back to the caves and asks if they have some peanut butter there.
There's got to be something. I mean, look at you.
Look at what?
At the same time, Shan is having an anxiety attack. When Jack and Saeed ventures out, we see a much clearer picture of the entrance to the cave.
Jack! What will happen if she doesn't get the meds?
I mentioned the entrances in the episode White Rabbit and that it's a completely different entrance than the one in season 6, which presumably is a narrow entrance that is closely tied to the place where Man in Black and Mother are laid to rest. While we're still in the caves, Sun will send Michael away to find some eucalyptus since her husband isn't exactly chill with her going away from him. They come to the beach, drag Sawyer out into the forest, the one I mentioned with the so-called Kauela Bay banyan tree. There they will torture Sawyer. After a few minutes of torture, Sawyer refuses to reveal their location to anybody but Kate. As an arrangement for the location of the inhalers, Kate and Sawyer kiss, and Sawyer immediately tells her he doesn't have them. Saeed attacks him and pierces his arm. Saeed runs away to get Jack's backpack. Michael comes back with a plant. Jack saves Sawyer and bandages him up. They bring him to his tent. Kate sits by, reading his letter over and over, while Charlie has now acquired an empty jar which is filled with imaginary peanut butter. Jack gets back to Shannon. Sun has helped her breathing with the eucalyptus mixture. Charlie gives Claire the peanut butter and they vacate to the caves. Sawyer goes back to the tree with the letter. Ashamed of having tortured and almost killed Sawyer, Saeed leaves the beach camp to map the island.
And I shall not walk alone.
Here we have something that seems like a small inconsistency with a musical montage at the end of the episode. No, I'm not talking about the fact that we can spot the tracks in the sand from Naveen Andrews, the actor playing Saeed, from previous takes, even though it bothers me a bit. It's that the musical montage starts with Saeed leaving at sunset, Claire and Charlie leaving midday, Moon and Shannon together midday, Sawyer sitting by the tree at midday and almost burning the letter, and Saeed leaving at sunset. These events don't happen at the same time. The montage is non-linear. Claire and Charlie have already left the beach and are at the caves when Saeed leaves the beach. There weren't any tracks in this episode, but the next one, boy, it's going to be a big one. We'll dive right into the deep mythology of the show, with the first appearance of Daniel Rousseau and the first introduction of her maps.